What's up, everyone? My name is Chris Fanzon. You are listening to the Hidden Doors podcast. Upcoming is my article review of 5 Ways Managers Sabotage the Hiring Process in Harvard Business Review. It's by Marina Glasman. If you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on more videos, podcasts coming down like this. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so we have an article for the 5 ways managers you can stop sabotage in the freaking hiring process. This is good for me too. I learned some things here. And this is by Marina Glasman. Marina is an entrepreneur, org design, and communication strategist for startups, funds, and C-suites, and business writer who analyzes leadership, society, people, and teams. And generally what this article goes on to explain is there are things that you are either attracting or unattracting. You're attracting people who you may not want, and unattracting is unattracting a freaking word? I don't know. Unattracting people who you would want in your organization by doing things in an interview process that is either signaling things that you don't want and you're not aware of, and you might have blind spots. And these are some things that Marina brings to the surface that you should be aware of while you're doing, because it could be leading to hiring mistakes that honestly could be costly to a company. Uh, you know, just takes a long time to even get a good person in the door. But then, depending on what they do when they're in the door, some people can sabotage a whole team. And so, this is what this article goes on to talk about. The five things talked about here are fixing and rescuing, validation seeking, boundary breaching, micromanaging, and detachment. Okay, so those are the 5 things. Let's go into them. Fixing and rescuing. Fixing and rescuing goes into when you are interviewing someone who has many red flags. Their references aren't necessarily touting their greatness, but they're being very neutral in their tone. You talk to someone who doesn't want to badmouth someone because they keep it professional. So the only feedback you can get usually when it's professional references is like, they're really great, or it's neutral. Usually no one's badmouthing anyone in a professional referenced environment. So you have to watch out for that neutral tone. Also, too many patterns of excuses of why they may have left a company because they had a bad relationship with someone on the team or their manager, or they didn't like the product or the process. Patterns start to build up. And in all of these cases, actually, I've had my own faults and have made hiring decisions I may have regretted. And this is something that this particular one, really resonates with me, because in your head, fixing and rescuing means, okay, I see a person who, has patterns of behavior that I don't like for the team, and over the past few years of them explaining things, I see red flags, and the references are neutral, but you somehow see potential in this person, and you say, hey, you know what? I'm a great manager. I'm the freaking best manager there is. And I think that with my guidance, my leadership, my hands-on approach, that I'm going to be able to get this person to perform really well and do good here. What this article goes on to talk about is that don't overestimate your ability to change a person. It's very difficult. You most likely don't have all of the skills, the time. Again, the time is a big factor here too. Even if you did have all the skills to do it, you don't have the time to change a person. Like, people have to be hired and be independent and work and take on projects and talk to people. They can't be handheld everywhere, and that's not even a good environment anyway. So it's unlikely you're able to change the person. So when you see too many red flags and you're still saying, I think this person may be a fit, what you may want to do is get a second opinion, get a couple other opinions from people who um, will act as your blind side, your what are they? Your blind spot mirror. Okay, I could have used a couple blind spot mirrors in a couple scenarios here. Um, I've certainly made a couple mistakes, especially in this part. So that's part one is fixing and rescuing. And like especially things that are translatable to any job or thing when you have see red flags, the things you need to be looking at, things like are they open to feedback? Are they accountable? Can they communicate effectively? Do they value teamwork? Those are the types of things that if there are red flags, it's like, okay, let's rethink this and get a second opinion. It might be not worth our time. So number two is validation seeking. Validation seeking is this is the typical. It's not really the yes. You never heard the yes man. I'll yes 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 boss whatever. I'll do whatever you say. It's similar to that, but when you are in an interview and someone is overly enthusiastic about a product or a new launch or anything, and it's a tough balance because you're supposed to be enthusiastic when you're interviewing someone and you're being interviewed. You're supposed to be enthusiastic. Um, so this is a tough one, but people who are too enthusiastic and don't call out any maybe potential, you know, constructive feedback or criticisms or point out any flaws, that's the balance. If you hire too many people who are not willing to call those things out, especially in the interview process, like, hey, I'm really excited about these products, blah 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 blah. However, I still think that we need to pay very close attention to this, and this because this might lead to potential mistakes, and this might be a bad way to roll the product out. If those people are passed on, the people who can call those things out, especially in interviews, then you may be surrounding yourself by people who are overly enthusiastic, but who are not willing to give people the truth and say, hey, look, this is a great product, but this timing is not going to work, or this needs to be revamped, or whatever. You may be surrounding yourself by people who are going to sabotage a new product launch, for example. There's an example here of, someone, who an executive who hired too many people, who showed over enthusiasm in the interviews, but that ended up leading to a product launch that didn't go well. So it was a tech startup. It was a tech startup CEO who did this, and it's something that she learned from. And so the point is, make sure you're getting people who, especially in your interview process, are not just 100% enthusiastic, but who also can add levels of truth and bring out flaws when needed. Third is boundary breaching. Boundary breaching is speaking to the boundaries of a professional environment. And I think in some cases, people have strange experiences at work where professional boundaries get crossed over too much. In one example in this article, it talks about an executive who, you know, like to signal in the interviews that they're a family culture, and they're very close knit. And but this person also like gotten too involved in people's family lives. Like there was one example where an executive was helping with a divorce, and that got annoying to some of the people who work there. So I don't know what the right balance is. It doesn't seem like someone should be at work involved with a freaking divorce. There needs to be some level of boundaries unless you're open to it. But even when you're open to it, that starts to muddy the waters in a professional environment. And so things to watch out for are signaling too much of family like culture, think of The Office, the show The Office, like Michael Scott, bring in the family like culture. That shit can get a little too muddy in there. And you might be attracting people who are bringing issues that really are breaking boundaries. So if you're speaking too much of family like, you're potentially attracting and signaling to people who like this type of stuff, that it might be bringing this to the workplace, or you might be just doing. You might, as a leader, be incorporating too much of a family like structure yourself. Um, which you have a blind spot to, but you may not realize that people are finding it annoying. You trying to jump in on someone's personal life without being invited to, at least, seems like especially with a divorce situation, doesn't seem like something you should be doing. So boundary breaching. Don't signal too much of that family like stuff. So you don't want to be attracting that type of environment. Four is micromanaging. I think it's generally well known. I think if you say micromanaging is a good thing, I think that you lived under a rock for like 45 years. Micromanaging, everyone knows, is not good. It is not good. But the thing is, some people actually inadvertently, and I think I might have at some points accidentally done this myself, because reading this over, makes me think, did I accidentally do this as well? But because it's not so clear until you read this. What it talks about is emphasizing things like too much of process and procedures and structure may actually invite people who are not creatively thinking and who are not highly driven, who can set their own goals, who have their own vision. Those are the type of people who are more driven and can be more autonomous and creative thinking. But people who, hear structure, procedure, they're just like cogs in a wheel who come in, do their stuff, don't think creatively outside the box and just get their work done. That potentially is signaling micromanaging without, specifically speaking of micromanaging. And so that's something that's really, I think, good to hear, because, even me, I wasn't thinking of how procedures and process. I thought those were, good things to a certain extent, and they are, but maybe signaling too much of that will, attract the wrong people and scare away the people who don't want crazy procedure and want to be able to, you know, be autonomous and think creatively in their jobs. And number five is detachment, which is the exact opposite, really, of micromanaging. But you need to find a balance here, because if you signal too much detachment, so let's say you want to be careful. Okay, I don't want to signal too much micromanaging. I want to get creative people, but you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, almost. But if you signal not enough, or too much detachment, I mean, then you potentially will attract people who um, will think it's a total free for all at the at the office, at the company. And what that ends up doing is a couple things. Either people will think it's a free for all, and you attract like bullies. And there have been instances in these articles that people have been bullied because, one of the executives, when they were doing the hiring, said, I'm totally hands off. I only come in when there's a problem. Trying to say, I don't want to, trying to emphasize that they don't micromanage, but they overemphasized it to the point where they attracted people who just expected a free for all and no oversight at all from any of the executives, any leadership. And so it ended up being a situation where people were bullying others, or it could lead to people who say, oh, great, this is beautiful. No oversight. Amazing. Clock in, clock out, get the hell away from me. Um, and those are the type of people, again, who, you know, are they going to set more ambitious goals for your company? Or are they just going to think like a cog and try to get in and out, knowing that no one's going to really, oversee what they're doing? So you need a balance. You need a balance of emphasizing micromanaging isn't something, but also making sure that when you're talking about this stuff, that you emphasize that your leadership team or whoever are also close enough to the work where you don't signal some bullies or people who just want to clock in and clock out. As a balance you got to figure out, and those are the five. So really quick: fixing and rescuing. Too many red flags may not be a good thing. Get a second opinion. Validation seeking. People who are overly enthusiastic, and if you're attracting people who are overly enthusiastic and not the people who are sometimes calling out flaws, you may be surrounding yourself with people who are not going to give you the truth in the end. Boundary breaching. Think of The Office. Be careful of emphasizing too much of a family culture. That shit is going to get muddy as hell. Micromanaging. Signal too much micromanaging. You might get people who are less creatively thinking. And detachment. If you go on the opposite side of the spectrum, you'll invite bullies and people who don't care about their work. So those are the 5 ways. Those are the 5 ways that managers can stop sabotaging the damn process, sabotaging your hiring process. If you have any feedback, any thoughts, anything you want to add to this, any disagreements, that's totally cool, because I didn't even come up with this damn article. This article is from Marina, so your feedback needs to be directed towards Marina too. But in all seriousness, any feedback you have, any thoughts, anything you have, please comment that into the comment section. Also, if you liked what you heard, give me a damn thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on more videos, podcasts, article reviews, book reviews. All this stuff is coming down, and we got more and more to go. So hope you do that, and I will see you next time. Take it freaking easy. Bye.